So it looks like Hoyoverse has this trend of releasing absolutely cracked out Harmony units, and Robin is no exception. She's going to be a damage enabler as well as a follow-up attack booster. So we're going to go over her kit real quick and see just what she does. And then we're also going to take a look at her light cones as well. But given the track record of previous limited Harmony units with Ruan Mei and Sparkle, Robin is going to be a character that you're going to want to look out for just for the sheer utility she's going to bring to your team, much like the aforementioned Harmony characters. And if you are at all specializing in follow-up team comps, then I would even say Robin is an absolute must to have on your team. Now, if we take a look at her traces, her first trace is an action advance forward once the battle starts. This allows you to build your Robin a little slower, as her skill does operate similar to Ruan Mei in that the skill countdown starts at the start of her turn. So the slower she's going to be, the more opportunity you have for the rest of your team to make use of that skill. But with this action advance forward, she's most likely always going to go before your squad so that she can pop her skill, and then she'll be slower on the rotation so that they get more uses out of the attack boost coming from her skill. And she also comes with a lot of passive energy regeneration outside of her turn as well, so you don't even have to worry about needing to build up her energy for her ultimate using her basic attacks or her skill, as your allies will end up doing that for you. Looking at her second trace in the Concerto state, she increases all allies crit damage when they launch follow-up attackers. So much like how Aventurine had his trace that boosted his performance with follow-up attackers, Robin's also going to have a trace that directly benefits follow-up attack teams. So right now, a team composition of Dr. Ratio, Topaz, Robin, and Aventurine looks like it's going to be the meta follow-up team. And then her final trace, when she uses her skill, she'll regenerate additional energy. Now, her technique is a field, much like how Jing Liu deploys her own field for her technique. After she uses a technique, she creates a dimension around her that lasts for a certain period of time. Enemies within this dimension will not attack Robin and will follow Robin while the dimension is active. After entering the battle while the dimension is active, Robin regenerates energy at the start of each wave. Only one dimension created by allies can exist at the same time, so you cannot use Robin's dimension at the same time as Jing Liu's dimension. One will override the other. As for her talent, it is a straight crit damage increase for all allies. And then after allies attack the enemy, Robin is additionally going to regenerate energy for herself. For her skill, she's going to increase the damage dealt by all allies for a certain number of turns. This duration decreases by 1 at the start of Robin's turn. So much like how Ruan Mei's countdown starts at the start of her turn, Robin's skill is going to follow a similar effect. And then lastly, her ultimate, she's looking to have one of the most stunning ultimates in the game so far. She puts on a full-blown concert for us where she will sing throughout the entire duration of this ultimate. She enters the Concerto state and allows all allies except for herself to immediately take action. So that is a 100% action boost for the rest of your team. That is an insane utility to have. Robin enters the Concerto state and increases all allies' attack based off her own attack. After every attack launched by allies, Robin will deal additional physical damage based off of her attack one time. The crit rate and crit damage for this damage is a fixed value. While Concerto is active, Robin is immune to crowd control debuffs. Before Concerto ends, Robin will not enter her turn and cannot take action. A countdown for Concerto appears on the action order. When the countdown starts its turn, Robin will exit the Concerto state and immediately take action. The countdown has a fixed speed. Now, since I do not have access to the beta server myself, and this description is a little vague, the way I understand this, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments below, that once she pops her ultimate, Robin is not going to move on the action bar, but this countdown will, and this countdown will move at a fixed state. And then once that countdown reaches the top of the action bar, Robin will end the Concerto and immediately start her next turn. That's how I read how this description is. it could be something completely different. We'll just have to see. But it does provide a lot of utility for your team. She's going to be constantly attacking. You're going to want to build her to have a significant amount of attack. And I'm sure there's going to be like a maximum attack stat that you'll want to reach, much like how Ting Yun, her maximum attack wants to be around 2400, because anything above that doesn't provide any additional benefits to your squad. Now, looking over at her light cone, glowing night glow, obviously it's going to be her best in slot. So the wearer is going to gain 1 stack of cantillation every time an ally attacks. Each stack of cantillation increases the wearer's energy regeneration rate by 3%, up to 5 stacks. When the wearer uses their ultimate, removes cantillation and gains cadenza. Cadenza increases the wearer's attack by 48%. That's a massive value. And the team's damage dealt by 24%, lasting for 1 turn. So this is really a light cone that is mostly just meant for Robin, and the only other Harmony character that would actually make use of this 48% would be Ting Yun, and 48% on a Ting Yun would be absolutely overkill, since you can meet her attack stat requirement with just an attack orb. So my stance on the light cone banner is that it's always a banner for spenders. I think there's very few instances where a free-to-play player should prioritize a light cone over say another character, and that opinion doesn't really change with this light cone banner here. Free-to-play, for free-to-plays, I wouldn't worry about this light cone. You could just use Dance 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 or any of the other Harmony light cones. And for the spenders, I mean, it's your money, spend it how you want it, spend wisely. But we do get another light cone with this banner, the debut of this Nihility light cone, Boundless Choreo, and it is going to be a light cone that is centered around Acheron. With Acheron, our light cone options for her were kind of limited. You either had to go for her signature light cone or hope you had a good night's sleep well light cone at S5, and then everything else below that was just incredibly suboptimal and doesn't really feel good to use. But this Boundless Choreo light cone, it increases the wearer's crit rate by 8%. The wearer deals 24% more crit damage to enemies that are currently defense reduced. So if Acheron is paired with a Pela or a Silver Wolf, which is basically her #1 and #2 best partner, or if they are slowed, which also helps with a Welt comp. And then the other 2 light cones on this banner are going to be Sword of Play, which is an okay hunt light cone, probably one of the better ones, and then Perfect Timing, which is just an effect resist boost and a outgoing healing boost. And for the most part, there are better options for these light cones. So the ones you really want to take into consideration are Boundless Choreo if you have Acheron, and then if you are planning to go for Robin's light cone, her light cone, obviously. So that is the gist of Robin and her light cone banner. Let me know down below, are you planning to get Robin, or are you going to save for somebody else? Are you going to wait for Boot Hill, or are you going to go for any of the reruns for next patch? Robin definitely seems to be a must-have for any follow-up enjoyers. They're receiving a lot of love recently with Aventurine as well. Their jades and their wallets are probably hurting though, especially with Topaz coming at the same time as well. So like, if you don't have any follow-up characters, you're gonna want Aventurine, you're gonna want Robin, you're gonna want Topaz. So it's gonna be rough for you follow-up enjoyers, but I do think it's going to end up with a very strong team composition at the end of the day. So don't forget to share your pull plans for version 2.2. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching.